non-stop Vikings talk. It's Purple Daily on Score North and ScoreNorth.com. Purple Daily, presented by Surly Brewing Company.
What an awesome feeling, and like I said, so happy for the guys. Personally, I don't need to be carried off, because they deserve just as much credit as I do. So I was like, put me down, and they're like, no. So it's kind of funny, but yeah, no, it's awesome feeling. Happy for everyone in the stadium. To hear that stadium erupt was amazing.
There he is, one of the many heroes of yesterday's clutch come-from-behind fourth-quarter victory by the Minnesota Vikings to improve to 2-3 on the season. This is Purple Daily, presented by Surly Brewing Company, daily Minnesota Vikings entertainment with one mission in mind every single day. We want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die. We find out this week, too, if this show goes from Marconi finalist to Marconi winner, which would be cool.
Oh, is that this week?
I think it's this week. So you might be talking to you're talking to Marconi finalists right now.
Right.
You might be talking about Marconi winners. We don't expect that to happen, but
wow,
it would be
you think of the greats in the business, don't you?
Right.
Like you think of Cronkite probably got a start on podcasts. Mm-hmm. You think of all of the great Peter Jennings probably got to start on podcasts.
Peter Jennings.
And now we could join. And now we could join the elite company that is the Marconi Awards.
Dan Rather, I think, did some podcasting back in the 60s too.
I'm told Dan Campbell didn't.
No, his podcast would just be him crying tears.
I'm so proud. Is that a Surly beer? I just appreciate this so much. Thank you so much.
Is that TCL TV? Yes, TCL. Is a partner of ours here. TCL has a new lineup of award-winning TVs delivering the most entertainment with stunning resolution, all at an affordable cost. Enjoy more of the things you love with TCL. All right, Mackey, Judd, executive producer Declan. When the Vikings win, it's pie chart of praise. We'll get to nitpicks, which might be lengthy, and Surly Judd must be furious. But hey, it's a Victory Monday here, so let's get this.
Now on Mackey and Judd.
You wanted better charts that you could see the fine print on.
The pie chart of praise.
You should be singing his praises.
All right, Judd Zolgad.
The Rock knows how you feel about pie.
All right.
The pie chart of praise.
Get the clock out. Get the play clock out.
Yours.
We're going to line of scrimmage. We're in the huddle right now. We're gonna matriculate down the field.
Matriculate, love it.
I would call this pie chart of praise a 4-minute offense. And I told you guys at the event line yesterday that I expected it to be only 2 people or 2 things. I've changed that. I'm coming with 4. I'm coming with 4.
Wow.
But it's still going to be quick for me because there really isn't a lot to praise here.
All right.
I'll start at the bottom and work my way up. 12.5%. That's right. For the first time ever, I am divvying up a piece of pie so thoroughly that there's a half attached to it. 12.5% goes to Justin Jefferson, who, despite the fact that he basically, not by his own doing, disappeared in the second half. 5 catches for 104 yards in the first half, 6 targets, 8 targets for the game, 7 catches. He provided a threat all day. It's not his fault. He was not necessarily used, but he provided a threat. He made a couple of great grabs. The one down the sideline that was in the first half, where it was a really nice throw by Kirk, but it was a great catch. There was good coverage. Justin Jefferson, 12.5%, because I think that somebody needs to acknowledge that he is special. And at the rate he's going, he is going to be the next Stephon Diggs. And I don't mean he's going to be as good as Diggs. He might be better. I mean he's going to be as disgruntled as Diggs. When Kirk says things like, they would double-teamed him and had cloud coverage, what am I supposed to do? I had to hand the ball off. No. You find a way. You game plan. You scheme. You trust. Trust. What's wrong with trust?
It is amazing how this happens all the time with the Vikings offense because they default to just being conservative and I don't know, it looks like a tight window. It's like they make it sound like the Lions are the first team in NFL history to counter adjust at halftime and provide some sort of double team coverage of a star receiver. It's like, does Kyler Murray think that? Well, I don't know. DeAndre Hopkins, he's pretty covered.
Exactly.
So I just stopped targeting him.
Yeah.
Like,
cloud coverage. Cloud coverage. We're out.
Sorry.
See ya.
Yep. Sorry.
I thought the same
CJ Ham.
12.5%. The other 12.5% of the pie goes to Kirk Cousins for two things. One, ultimately, it was Detroit, but he led a winning drive. Now the difference from the Arizona game in this game is Greg Joseph sealed the deal by actually making a much tougher field goal this time. But nonetheless, There were 37 seconds, if I'm not mistaken, left on the clock when Detroit got its 2-point conversion to take a 1-point lead. Kirk got you down the field, made some nice throws. He gets points for that, no question about it. We always say lead the drive. Kirk did that. And the second part of why I'm praising Kirk, absolute PR brilliance. That was as bad a performance as we could have seen. And the entire focus of everybody was going to be on, well, you won, but that was crap. What are you doing? Like, we still might want Mike's head for this. This was terrible. But by slamming Zim in the chest and setting off that post-game celebration, what did we all get infatuated with? Oh, my God, did the quarterback and coach nearly come to blows? Forget the game. Let's talk about this. A brilliant PR move by the savvy veteran quarterback to know he had to create a distraction, and he did it by doing the very awkward pounding Zim in the chest and then having Zim shove him back.
By the way, if you want, we played that clip a million times yesterday on Ventline. I don't know, Dex, maybe you can load it in before the end of the episode here, too, so we can do another breakdown of what looked like a shoving match, but then it was them clearly celebrating on the sidelines. I think my diagnosis of that moment is Kirk Cousins was a 12 out of 10 in excitement. Hey, we just came back, and it's a fourth quarter comeback. It's a game-winning drive. We should be on cloud 9. And Zimmer, probably for the 5 minutes of real time leading up to the game-winning kick, which he didn't watch. He doesn't watch the kicks. So he's probably thinking, oh, my God, I'm going to get fired. We just lost to the Lions. Oh, like, are they going to fire me tonight? Like the kick's going through, and Kirk is like pounding him in the chest, and Zimmer wasn't ready to party on that level yet, and it was wildly uncomfortable.
But think about it. Twitter went from being 100% this was the crappiest win potentially of all time to 75%. The coach and quarterback were about to fight, weren't they?
But
and 25% was on the game.
And it was, and multiple angles. I think Zimmer for a second thought, oh my God! There was like a quick fight or flight reaction, and then the security guard went to pull Mike Zimmer back, and then he realized, oh no, Kirk's just really excited, delivering his trademark.
You like that? You like that?
So, yeah.
All right, 15%. Greg Joseph, congratulations. I believe he made 4 of 5 field goal attempts. Obviously, hit the 54-yard field goal to win that game. A nice day, a nice bounce back from week 2 when he had a chip shot against the Cardinals. That would have been the only loss the Cardinals have if the Vikings had won that game, but they did not. But it's ironic that there's a very good chance that of all positions, a kicker might have saved Zim's job. Mm-hmm. A kicker. The people he probably abhors the most in life, one of them might have for at least a week, if not more, because he might be safe now, saved Mike's job.
And you know what? Maybe this is a good lesson for. We kind of mocked Mike Zimmer for being the everyone calm down, kickers miss kicks guy. It's like, oh, now you say that after 8 years? Yeah. Well, maybe it led Greg Joseph to be more comfortable in that situation yesterday.
You're saying that the new calmer Zim worked out well for Greg Joseph.
May have.
You might be right.
You
know what? I can't discount that.
Certainly didn't hurt. Mm-hmm.
I certainly can't discount that. All right. Pie chart of praise has one piece left, and as you can tell, it's going to be a mammoth slice. It's a mammoth slice. And it's a slice of thankfulness. It's a Thanksgiving slice for the pie that's going to go to the Vikings' rival, the Detroit Lions.
Okay.
They are so bad, they are so hapless, that even though they scored with 37 seconds left, it did not come as a surprise that the Vikings, that Kirk Cousins went right down the field and put Greg Joseph in position to kick that field goal. I talked about this on Mackey and Judd earlier as well, but the fact is that the Lions are the gift that keeps on giving. Vikings, 79, 39, and 2 all time against Detroit. They've also won their last 8 in a row. The Detroit Lions get 60%. So I give 60% to the competition, 15% to Greg Joseph, and 12.5% apiece, Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson.
The Rock knows how you feel about pie.
All right, how'd we do? All right, 7 minutes.
I tried to keep it around 650. I'm going to say I'm a little disappointed.
It's pretty good. We're for people who are wondering why are you keeping track, Judd once went almost 15 minutes ranting about a preseason game in the pie
Which
chart
game
of
was
playing.
that?
After the third preseason game.
Well, that was a good,
clock
Irv
management.
Smith got hurt. I was upset.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Kenny Nwangu was really driving up the problems there.
Hey, you know what? You do you. You worry about you.
All right, here we go. My pie
right,
chart of
9 o'clock.
praise for a Vikings victory. 30%. Let's just get right into it. 30% to the late game luminary himself, the fourth quarter pharaoh, the dagger doctor, Mr. Game-winning drive. Kirk Cousins. Kirky McClutcherton with his fourth successful fourth quarter comeback as a Vikings quarterback. One exactly in each of the last 4 years. And listen, I mean, that game was a disaster. But what do we ask of Kirk? And I would be a hypocrite if I sat here and didn't shine a light on the last 37 seconds of that game yesterday. Everything's crumbling around you. You're about to lose to the Lions at home. It doesn't matter what brought you to that point. I don't care if you've thrown 7 interceptions. I don't care if the crowd is booing your offense. There are 37 seconds left on the clock. You have 2 timeouts, and you still have a chance to win the game. No excuses. And Kirk Cousins passed to Thielen, timeout, pass to Westbrook, timeout, another chunk pass to Thielen, and a spike, and he sets Greg Joseph up for a 54-yard game winner. Kirk Cousins helped bail out the Vikings from what should have been the worst loss in Mike Zimmer's career as coach. I mean, and Greg Joseph helped too, and I'll get to some of the other pie charts, but this is what you want your quarterback to do. 37 seconds, save us. And he did. And so he deserves a tip of the cap and 30% of my pie chart of praise.
Record that, cut it, and every time people say Phil Mackey hates Kirk Cousins' guts and will never praise him, play that.
Here's the other thing, I like just a side street off that. So many people, you guys are, or me specifically, you go back and forth on Kirk. You were praising him this week and then you this week. It's like, well, when he plays well, he deserves some praise. It doesn't change my overall thinking about his contract being an albatross or him not rising up. I mean, if you want to go the other way with it, he's had exactly and only one fourth quarter comeback in each of the last 5 seasons, 4 of them with the Vikings. And those opponents are Detroit at home, Carolina at home last year, the Denver game that we all talk about, and they weren't that good a couple years ago. And then the fourth one is actually the at Green Bay game in 2018 that resulted in a tie. And according to Pro Football Reference, you get credit for a fourth quarter comeback if the game ends in a tie or a win.
Yep.
And so, has the defense or the kicker let him know. He would have had one in Arizona too. So some of this is, dependent on things that aren't necessarily in your control. But hey, Kirk Cousins did what he should have done to clean up that mess. And he celebrated accordingly with his head coach after the game was over. I mean, look at this chemistry. Look at these two right here.
Get away from me.
You want to talk about two
you sort
guys
of got
that
that
are
old man thing. I'm telling you, sort of got that old man. What is? Huh? What are you doing?
Look at these two guys right here. I mean, this is two guys on the same page, not awkwardly at all, celebrating a huge win against the Detroit Lions.
That's so the story of Kirk and Mike. Like if there was to be the story of Kirk and Mike, that is like the perfect part to the story.
It is pretty amazing.
You like that?
All right.
You like that?
30% to Greg Joseph. He has bounced back very nicely from that Cardinals debacle, made 4 field goals in this game, 2 from beyond 50 yards, one of them a game winner. If not for him hitting that field goal, the Vikings don't win. 30% of my pie chart to Justin Jefferson for just being an unguardable beast in the first half and just in general as a wide receiver. 7 catches, $124, 6 first downs. He's now fringe top 5 or top 5 in several key categories as a wide receiver, and so just keep feeding him. I don't care if he's double teamed or bracketed or cloud covered. Throw it up, man. That pass there was a pass Cousins threw in the first half where he just dropped back, boom, just threw it up, and that was an indictment on last week where they checked down with whatever it was, 8 seconds to go. Well, there wasn't enough time. He didn't need time to take 3 steps and lob a ball up 40 yards to Jefferson in the first half yesterday, so just get the ball to Justin Jefferson. 5% praise to Christian Darrisaw. 28 offensive snaps, 0 pressures allowed at left tackle. He wasn't perfect. He did get pushed around a little bit, but none of them resulted in official pressures. And then 5% to the modern-day version of the Purple People Eaters, who mostly did their job for 59 minutes yesterday. And then they got a little weird at the end there in the red zone, and then with a 2-point conversion. But they flustered Jared Goff. They held the Lions to 6 points until very, very late. They forced a couple turnovers. And the Vikings defense is now holding its last 3 opponents to an average of 16 points per game. And they rank second in the NFL in sacks on the season. They are 6 sacks away from last year's season output. So 5% Vikings defense, 5% Christian Darrisaw, 30% each to Justin Jefferson, Greg Joseph, and the fourth quarter pharaoh, Kirk Cousins.
You like that? You like that?
You hate Cousins. You always hated Cousins.
No, I want the Vikings to win more than I want to worship a starting quarterback.
You're not a true
right?
fan. You're not a true Vikings fan.
You like that? You like that? The Rock knows how you feel about pie.
Declan, pie chart. Go.
All right, my pie chart of praise. I will start 10% to Greg Joseph, just 10%. And I know he made the game-winning kick. He did save Mike Zimmer's job, most likely, if he did not make that kick. But look, it's his one job. You have a kicker, it's one job, make the damn kicks. He made his kick, he deserves praise, so 10%, little piece of pie to Greg Joseph for doing so, 10%. My next chunk to Eric Kendricks, 15% of praise to Eric Kendricks. Yesterday for Kendricks, the highest graded player for the Minnesota Vikings on offense or defense, a 91.1 PFF grade. He also had 8 tackles, 1 pass deflection, a humongous interception. This dude always comes up with opportunistic big-time plays. Like I don't know if we can quantify opportunistic linebacker plays, but the dude always seems to get a very clutch interception when his team needs one. Yes, and he's a very good coverage linebacker. So Kendricks deserves some praise here. Don't sleep on a linebacker. And I know Greg Joseph technically won the game, but Eric Kendricks' impact is going to impact the game more than Greg Joseph. So 15% of the pie going to the Vikings linebacker, Eric Kendricks. My next chunk of pie, 35%. A 35% chunk of pie to Justin Jefferson. 7 catches, $124. And I know things went away in the second half, but I don't blame Justin Jefferson for that by any means. You saw in those first 2 quarters why he is literally becoming one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. Last year was not a fluke. Last year was not just a rookie sensation. The book starts coming out on players more and more as time goes on. I think Justin Jefferson is literally putting himself in the category as one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. He deserves a ton of praise. And yeah, Kirk was the one slinging it to him, but Justin Jefferson's the one getting open and making the big impact. 35% of my pie to the second-year wide receiver, Justin Jefferson. And then finally, the biggest chunk, 40% to Kirky McClutcherton, Kirk Cousins, for orchestrating that drive. Because I thought when Dan Campbell had the cojones to go for 2 and convert that 2-point conversion, I thought this game was over. There is zero chance that Kirk Cousins is going to be able to do this. No, Kirk Cousins delivers his 4th game-winning drive. We get 1 a year, so his 4th game-winning drive.
Fourth quarter comeback.
Excuse me.
He's got more game-winning drives. Yeah.
So he does have that to his name. Good for Kirk. But Kirk Cousins deserves praise. He found Adam Thielen for a couple of big-time plays. He deserves praise there. He puts Greg Joseph in a position to win the game. He goes right up to his head coach. His head coach doesn't really like it a whole lot. He says, please get away from me. I don't think you're vaxxed. I don't want COVID. That's okay. It's a different discussion.
I think he might be now. Cousins, he's not wearing a mask on the sidelines now.
Maybe. He likes to keep those decisions private.
Someone should ask. But we don't have to talk about it because I know people love when we talk about vaccinations.
Yeah, they love that kind of stuff. But 25 of 34, 275, 8.1 yards per throw for Kirk Cousins yesterday. Puts them in a position to win the game. So 40% of my pie for the final chunk to Kirk Cousins. So to recap, 10% to Greg Joseph, 15% to Eric Kendricks, 35% to Justin Jefferson, and 40% to Kirk Cousins.
The Rock knows how you feel about pie.
Real nice
Look at you working
as how the drive.
I only gave 60% to Detroit. I mean, you guys clearly don't think
they almost
the
won the
Detroit
game.
Lions. Yeah, but their defense was so bad that they couldn't.
It's true.
And by the way, that drive, just a reflection of what you could have done. That drive, that last drive, was a reflection. I'm not saying it's all there because, and I hate the prevent defense philosophy, but there were some elements of how they were playing defensively that you probably could have exploited. But it's okay, you won.
Nah, well, that's probably a good segue into a couple things here. We'll get to nitpicks, a full slate. When the Vikings win, we balance it with nitpicks. When they lose, we balance it with silver linings. So we'll get to that. But Judd, Surly, you must be furious about something.
Yeah, you know what? And because I am, I know that I can go home and I can go to my fridge, and this is what you should do too, and have a Surly Furious sitting in my fridge waiting for me. And ironically, a Surly Furious takes the edge off. But here's why, Surly, I am furious this morning, okay? The Vikings won, I get it. But I am still disgusted by that performance. I know it's a win, but let me focus. Let me delve down into the offensive approach, okay? And we basically now have the quotes from Zim to confirm this, which makes me even more surly furious. Mike Zimmer and Clint Kubiak have an offense that has skill position players who should be able to light up the Detroit Lions. It's a bad defense. It's a bad team. Kirk Cousins, who's paid a lot, and by the way, can make throws. It's not like he can't make throws. Justin Jefferson is marvelous. Adam Thielen is very good. And KJ Osborne has established himself as I think, an excellent third receiver option, giving the Vikings 3 receivers for the first time in a long time. Instead, Clint Kubiak, with Zim by his side, calls plays yesterday against the Lions as if Spurgeon Wynn is playing quarterback. Like that was a Spurgeon Wynn game plan. We don't really trust you here. 41 seconds left in the first half, and because your players have previously made some mistakes late in the half, you decide to kill the clock instead of doing what Cleveland did just last week in front of you in your building, which is go down the field, cross the 50, and give Greg Joseph, who can make a 50-plus yard field goal, a chance to give you 3 more points. At what point does this coaching staff join 2021 and get with the program? If they won't, what's the point here? Justin Jefferson is a huge talent. I think he's as good as Diggs are going to be, and he could possibly be better. And yet he's used like, you're just a piece of this puzzle, Justin. And by the way, that's also going to get Justin eventually, as he matures, to say, I'm out of here. That is enough to make anybody surly.
Wow. Masterpiece. A masterpiece. And
you're going to chase the kid away.
And it's all fair. Actually, Dex, can you load that clip of Zimmer explaining the end of the first half very condescendingly, by the way? Courtney Cronin, and Courtney kind of gave him an out in the question, and you'll hear it here in a second. But, Courtney asked, hey, was it just you guys were going to get the ball back in the second half and you were just trying to run some clock there and whatever, which, by the way, like, I don't even know that he deserves, like, the out in the question. Dude, you've got 40 seconds left, 2 timeouts. You got some of the best receivers in the NFL, and you have a quarterback that, when protected, is damn good and has been pretty good also, like, late in halves this year. Why would you not make a run at least field goal range? And this is Mike Zimmer condescendingly explaining.
With the series before halftime, was it just a matter of wanting to run the clock out there because you were getting the ball back?
Well, I shouldn't have to explain all this to you, but the plan was if we've screwed up a couple plays in the end of the first half this year, right? Because we ran out of bounds, we did some things. So the plan was to run the ball the first play, see how much yards we get, and then go from there. If we get a first down, then we get on the ball and we move. But we got like no yards, so that was that.
Okay, couple things off that. Number one, I do think it's a little bit of a reflection of how he feels about Kirk Cousins and the offense's ability to not make a mistake. Like, I don't think he fully trusts Kirk to not get strip sacked or something, or the offensive line to hold up in protection. Like, I think there's definitely some trust issues with Mike and the offense in those moments. But do you think the best teams in the NFL, the highest octane offenses, and the Vikings were averaging 30 points a game going into that Browns game, and the Vikings have a pretty high octane offensive attack when they pull the training wheels off of it. It's not what the Chargers have been this year or what the Cardinals have been, but do you think the best teams in the NFL, the teams that are going to be in contention to win a Super Bowl, enter the last 40 seconds of a half, the first half, with 2 timeouts and think, oh man, well we failed a couple times, that we made a mistake 2 weeks ago and we fumbled this one time, so let's just be conservative and hand the ball off? Or are they thinking, woo, baby, 40 seconds, 2 timeouts, and Justin Jefferson with 100 yards in the first half? Bang, bang, bang. At the very least, let's kick a field goal. We might even be able to get down close enough to make a run at a touchdown. It's like his default thinking, for as much of a tough guy as he is and for as aggressive as his personality can be, he is one of the most cowardly, conservative, philosophical offensive guys in the NFL. And yes, Clint Kubiak's calling the plays. But if Mike Zimmer gets on the headset there and says, guys, 40 seconds, 2 timeouts, let it rip to Justin Jefferson. Let's get it. Let's get inside the red zone and see what happens.
You're right.
They would do it.
Yep.
But he doesn't want to, right? He's, I don't know. A couple weeks ago, Amir Abdullah ran out of bounds, and then we gave the other team, forget about that, dude. Go for the jugular. It's the Lions, for God's sakes. So I'm in lockstep with you on this.
But, I mean, it's maddening, too. And you've got the skill position guys. Now, I am not saying that Kirk is a top 5 QB, okay? Herbert's been unbelievable. But I will say this in defense of Kirk and the entire offense, we have no idea. Like, they don't allow us to find out. There's never an extended period where they're like, let's really go here. Mm-hmm. Seattle felt like a huge breakthrough because they scored a lot of points, but they were down and had to come back. They literally took a lead against Detroit, which is a team that you should turn into an aerial show. They took a lead against Detroit, guys, and they acted like they were playing against a great defensive team and against a team where we just need to win by 3.
Dude, yeah.
Like, how is that your thinking?
Dude, they're checking
With
down
Justin
on
Jefferson.
3rd and long. They're throwing screens. It's like, what are you guys doing? They're so paralyzed by the fear of making a mistake on offense that they don't come anywhere close to unleashing their best possible offensive output every week.
But then this comes back to one huge question. If you are that afraid of making a mistake offensively, why on earth did you ever decide to pay a quarterback, any quarterback? I'm not just picking on Kirk.
But Mike Zimmer would agree, right? That's why it's so,
I know, but somebody's got to be
weird.
like, Mike, no, this doesn't work. We're paying this guy too much. And look at the weapons. Yeah. Stephon Diggs, the Vikings put on almost a weekly tutorial on why Stephon Diggs is in Buffalo. And I know it worked, but believe me, that's not going to become the rule of forcing guys to demand trades where, it worked again. But the Vikings put out, forget disagreements off the field. Forget, hey, how did Cousins and Diggs coexist? The Vikings, from a play calling standpoint, give you a weekly tutorial on why Stephon Diggs said, I'm out of here. And no one can blame him.
Yeah, it's true. We've got more nitpicks as well, as I'm sure a lot of Vikings fans that came on Ventline, and we heard from on Ventline yesterday. We heard from an usher who was at the game, also talking to fans. Like, a lot of you Vikings fans were actually rooting for a loss as that thing, got into the final minutes, and Detroit goes for 2, and so we can get into some of that. But real quick here, Judd, let's introduce the audience to another partner of ours. Real quick, I know. Sometimes I think we have a lot of fun with our partners and Surly and whatnot, and we probably get a little too obnoxious, but it's because they support us, keep the lights on, and you guys have been supporting Chill Boys and Surly, and we got another one starting today that's going to be awesome for the show.
And welcome aboard, Livia Weight Control Centers. In fact, Dex, if you could briefly give me the full screen here, I'm going to stand up here and show you guys something.
Oh wow!
Because this is
are you clothed? Are you clothed?
Yes, he's clothed.
I am clothed.
Oh my God!
I am clothed. Now I am wearing a sweater or a shirt. I don't know what you call this. I don't really care. A quarter zip. I am wearing something that a month ago, 3 weeks back, was in storage. Unwearable. You know why?
Wow, dude.
No, I'm dead serious. This would have been so tight and uncomfortable. But in my first week, 9 pounds down.
Wow, dude. That's awesome.
Livia is incredible. Now, here's what I want to share, too, because the weight continues to come off. And this is important, okay? 1, I don't want a lot of work. So, I don't want to take microwave meals to games and be like, do you have a microwave I can use for my special meal? Because I'm a high-maintenance reporter. I don't want...
Do you have a pasture of grass I can graze on during...
Yep, exactly right.
Those exist.
I want ease and I want structure, okay? Tell me what to do. Don't make it too tough. And the folks at Livia have done exactly that. They have given me ease. They have given me structure. And the best part is if you join now, join me because I'm not done yet. I'm 230. I was 240. It's way too fat for me. I was 240, 230 now. If you join now, first 10 weeks for free.
Boom.
First 10 weeks for free. A limited time offer and soon. Call now, 855-GO Livia, Livea, or visit livia.com. That is livia.com. So do it today, and I'm serious. This is a great program. It's ease, it's structure, it's all of the things that guys in particular want.
Love it. Love it. So you're down, dude, you're down 10 pounds.
I was down 10 pounds in 1 week. And I'll probably lose, I'm hoping to drop like 4 pounds a week or so it's not going to all come off as quick. But the point is, I love the program. The program makes perfect sense. It's not a ton of work. The food that they do supply you with is good, but overall, this is, and the best part is when the journey is done, and I'm trying to get down to probably around 200 pounds or so. The best part is they've got a program for maintenance as well. And that's why it's called weight control and not weight loss. Because the key here is, especially for a guy my age who's going on 52, control your weight. So don't just lose it and gain it back, which I've done. Yeah. Lose it and keep it off. Livia
and you like to,
is the
and
place.
You know what? And obviously, you're going to want to drink a beer once in a while too. And so it sounds like Livia can work around.
Livia can definitely help with that.
Your lifestyle. So, all right, further nitpicks here. Declan, what was a nitpick that you had from yesterday?
So it's a nitpick, but also at the same time, it was a trending in the right direction, but it's more of an all-encompassing nitpick. So yesterday, I think, was the perfect example of why we need to take the training wheels off of Everson Griffin. So Everson Griffin has been used situationally in the first few games this season. Now, he missed the game in Arizona because of the car accident, but his first 3 games, he only played 41% of the snaps, 64% of the snaps against Seattle, 55% of the snaps against Cleveland, but yesterday was on the field for 72% of the snaps. And it had a monster day, a couple sacks, 2 quarterback hits, a tackle for a loss, 4 tackles. He did have a couple penalties, but those didn't really bug me too much. Everson Griffin and Danielle Hunter complement each other a ton. And I believe Andre Patterson said last week going into the game, well, he's older. He's 33. I have to get Ev out for all 17 games this year. I can't be running him out there all the time like I used to. Everson Griffin is still a damn good pass rusher, and I think you should stop taking the training wheels off and just let Everson Griffin be Everson, man. Let the big dog eat.
I love how Everson being Everson means you might get into a car crash in week 3 and commit a couple dumb penalties, but it's all part of the Everson Griffin experience. So yeah, he played 49 of the 68 snaps on defense yesterday. Anthony Barr played all 68 defensive snaps. Hasn't played in the game for basically a calendar year.
Yeah, and we thought that he, possibly be on a pitch count. So
yeah,
good for him. He can play. He can play.
All right, so many other potential nitpicks here.
You like that? You like that?
I think my biggest one is I'm going to go like 30,000 foot philosophy here. And this goes back 15 years. The Wilfs are really good owners in that they are invested. They will spend big guaranteed money on players like Jared Allen and Brett Favre, and Kirk Cousins was available. And, they're sort of there as an ownership group to say, how can we help you? But we're not going to meddle too much, like a Jerry Jones. So they're really good owners. But for the last 15 years, from ownership down to front office, down to the field staff, the head coaches, and even the play calling as we're seeing it in this iteration of Vikings football, everything is catered to avoiding failure more than achieving Super Bowl success. And I'm just kind of sick of it. I'm glad that the Vikings aren't a train wreck on a regular basis like the Lions are. I'm glad that they don't just start every other year like 1-5 or 0-5 like the Lions do. But I'm watching that game yesterday, and I'm listening to the head coach, the clip that we played a little earlier, talk about, we made a couple mistakes earlier in the season, and so we were going to just run the ball at the end of the first half just to see. It's like, that's not championship strategy. That's not thinking about how can we shove it down the Lions' throats and sneak a quick touchdown in before the half. It's like, why are you – they're so obsessed with guarding against a fumble or guarding against a 4-win season that they don't have enough foresight or strategy or whatever it may be, or the right people in place to really achieve Super Bowl goals. Yep. And that game yesterday was a microcosm of it, that they're more concerned with avoiding failure as a franchise than achieving Super Bowl success. And that's like the biggest nitpick I can possibly have.
Yep. And it seems like if they do try something and it doesn't work, it just scares them forever. Well, we had a couple guys step out of bounds. We had a couple mistakes, so we're just going to take away. Well, yeah, you want to take away your mistakes, but you want to improve upon them, not abandon them, right? Mm-hmm. Like those things didn't work, so we're done there. Well, why don't you work to improve upon those things so that the next time you try them, they have an opportunity to work? I'm with you.
And it's okay. Like, it's okay. You're going to make mistakes. It's football. It's almost like the Vikings are so, well, if the pocket's not perfect, then it's going to be hard for us to throw. Or, well, if there's even a 5% chance of fumbling at the end of the half, then we should just be conservative. It's like, there's going to be mistakes. You're going to throw some interceptions. I don't care. Now, if you throw 20, okay, we need to have a conversation. But, like, Justin Jefferson's the hot hand. If they bracket coverage him in the second half, or if they give you cloud coverage or whatever, oh, we don't want to throw an interception. No, you want to throw the ball to Justin Jefferson. Yeah. So if you need to force it once in a while, I'm okay with it.
But the thing I don't get about that is that's such a cop-out to me because, okay, if let's say Jefferson is covered, he's cloud covered, he's bracket covered, he's double covered. You've got two other guys. One of them has to be open, right? Like you can't be like KJ Osborne, Thielen, and Jefferson, bang, they're all gone. That's what I don't know. That's what and they don't explain that part of it. But that's what's so frustrating is aren't there ways to make adjustments as the game goes where, okay, Jefferson got off to a great start. Now it's going to be tougher to get the ball to him. But Adam Thielen had 2 catches in that game, and both came on the last drive. It's, and don't come back with, well, he had another catch. It got wiped out by a bad call. Okay, whatever. My point is much grander than that. My point is you got to go about finding guys. You can't just be like, well, we'll just go back to the run.
Yeah.
I mean, it is, man.
Yeah. This is the most innovative and high-flying offenses have ever been. Yeah. And the Vikings have some of the best skill position players, even without Dalvin Cook. And they are actively bleeding the clock down at the end of the first half, and they are actively running more handoffs on second and long than any team in the NFL.
And have you seen
conservative?
Yeah, and have you seen not just what teams like the Chargers are doing, but college? Which, by the way, college trickles upward now. So, like play calls and designs get robbed from college. I watched a ton of football on Saturday. The designs there are getting more and more intricate and more interesting. And you're still like, let's pound the ball like you're in the Big Ten circa 1976. I'm with you. It's maddening to watch.
Also, there's a difference between being risk-obsessed and paralyzed and just adhering to good risk management practices. And that's where Federated comes in.
Oh, I love what you did
If you're a business owner, okay? Listen, they're not telling you be paralyzed by risk. You might need to be aggressive as a business owner, and that's where Federated comes in. They help with risk management, okay? They help make sure that your bottom line is protected, that your employees are protected, whether it's fire prevention or pandemic guidelines and safety guidelines and everything that has to do with the last 18 months in this country. Federated's here to help you. You can find out more about the great people and tools at Federated by going to federatedinsurance.com. And remember, at Federated, it's our business to protect yours.
You like
All right, any other just final nitpicks here before we wrap? And we'll have plenty more with Booney tomorrow and Realistic Randy tomorrow.
I got one, and it's got nothing to do with Zimmer or the on-field personnel people. Rick Spielman, the Chris Herndon trade.
Yeah, it's bad.
For a 4th-round pick.
It's a 4th-round pick.
He has, and I'll say it slowly because it's hard to comprehend this. But first of all, he is considered a pass-catching tight end, okay? So he's not a blocker. He is a guy who should catch passes. He has as many targets, I believe, as he does penalties now. He took 2, and the holding call on the Thielen play might have been a bad call, but it was still called, and he did spin the guy, okay? The second one on the block is an easy call, but you traded a 4th-round pick, and I know that they got a 6th-round pick back too, but you traded a 4th-round pick, and you always tell us how much you love your draft picks and how important 4th and 5th-round picks are for a guy who is contributing nothing, 0. And he is supposed to catch passes, not block. He is a pass catcher. Come on.
They yesterday they played. Sir Herndon played 7 snaps yesterday, 2 penalties, and Ben Ellefson, who played FCS, he played for NDSU, but he's an FCS college football player,
and he's the blocker.
Who was
yes.
undrafted in 2020. Yep. And they've got Ben Ellefson out there for twice as many snaps as Chris Herndon. Now, Ben Ellefson, of the 14 plays he was out there for, almost all of them were run plays. So basically, if you're an opposing defense and you see Ben Ellefson out there, the Vikings are running the football.
which again proves the point of predictability.
Yeah, 100%.
But Chris Herndon, come on, 4th round pick, like that's the production for us. 7th round pick, or just pick a guy up off the street for nothing.
Yeah. Dex, any final quick nitpicks from you?
Yeah, last one. Please stop taking the ball out on kickoffs. Just get the ball on the 25-yard line, let the offense go from there. Amir Abdullah twice could have let the ball go out of bounds, and that could have actually been a better decision than taking the ball out. Stop taking the ball out. If you're not Cordero Patterson, or if you're not Devin Hester, basically a Hall of Fame level or an elite level kickoff returner, just stop. Just stop taking the ball out.
Wasn't the one at the end of the game? So that was going out of bounds, wasn't it?
That was for sure going out of bounds.
Yeah, and I don't know what, he sort of got nervous. Like, I don't know if he didn't realize where he was on the field.
Yeah.
It was very weird.
So they could have had, that would have been taken out to what, the 35?
35, right? Yeah.
So they could have been
10 more yards.
17 yards closer.
Yeah,
they start at the 18
Well,
yard.
right. Just from the norm, 10 yards.
Oh, anyways. All right. Well, if you want the full therapy session, Vikings Vent Line was great yesterday for that. Alex Boone. One of the things we can talk about tomorrow with Boone is, what is the acceptable level of celebration when your team beats the Lions in that fashion? Is it Kirk Cousins celebration where he's like grabbing his head coach?
You like that? You like that?
And they're putting the kicker on their shoulders walking off the field?
What is this, the Bad News Bears?
I mean, they literally put the kicker on their shoulders.
You're right. That's
and
another
walked
thing.
off the field.
Yes, good point. I mean, what the hell?
We can talk about that stuff with Booney tomorrow. But thanks for hanging out with us. Daily Vikings entertainment here and therapy. It's Purple Daily, presented by Surly.